This is the Horse Radio Network.
You're listening to The Stall and Stable Show. Ideas for happy horsekeeping.
When it comes to business, horse people struggle. Many of us are animal people first and business people second. In fact, I would argue that most horse professionals are not in business by choice, but by necessity. The fact of the matter is, we need to pay our own bills, and we need to be around horses all the time. It's a logical marriage of love and need, but it's not often a happy marriage. Consider this episode as a stand-in marriage counselor, offering tips for making your business life and your horse life get along as best they can. In this episode, I'm going to talk about professionalism in the equestrian workplace, what you can do to be professional, be happy, and to represent our industry with integrity, because all eyes are on us right now, and we need to show up. So listen in. This is episode 93 of the Stall and Stable Show, brought to you by Lucas Equine Equipment, makers of premium quality barn components and accessories. From stall fronts in all colors to gates, latches, doors, and windows, Lucas Equine is the company that can turn your barn into a slice of heaven on earth. To see what I mean, go to lucasequine.com. Today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. I'm your host, Helena Harris. In addition to our title sponsor, I'd like to thank Tangent Materials and American Harvest Hemp for supporting this podcast. Hello, friends. It's time to talk business again. And today's monologue will be about professionalism in the equestrian workplace. Once upon a time, horse people could run their businesses however they saw fit. Some did a great job caring for horses, employees, and their business, while others failed at one or all of the above. Today, how you run your business isn't just your business. It's the business of everyone scrolling the metaverse. Everything you do at your farm, on the road, or even online leaves an impression on the horse community. Even if you're not on social media, the people you encounter on a day-to-day basis are. And the impression you leave on them can quickly become a force for good or evil. So today, I'm going to share 10 qualities of a good horse professional. Because professionalism in the equine industry can boost your reputation, your brand, and ultimately your business. But more importantly, it's a good representation of what horse people all over the world are capable of doing. And that is raising the bar of kindness and integrity on this planet. We know better. So together, let's do better. Let's get started. Number 1. A good horse professional always puts their horses first. Your horses are a reflection of the environment you create for them. Folks far and wide are learning what a happy horse looks like and what a miserable horse looks like. If you're not taking the time to understand your horses, truly understand them, you're not taking good care of them, and it will show. It might not show in the glow of their coat or their finely shod feet, but it will show in lameness, vet visits, gadgets and gizmos to keep them sound, or equipment to keep them compliant. How often do your horses go lame? When was the last time you reviewed your horse care practices or read up on the latest in horse care? Professional development is important in this aspect of your business because without happy and healthy horses, you're just tossing cash into the wind. Number 2, a good horse professional understands the importance of customer service. Whether you like it or not, you can't run a business without happy customers, because happy customers are far more willing to dig deep into their pockets to pay for your services. The thing about customer service is it has to be authentic. If you want to attract and keep good clients, not necessarily the rich ones, you need to brush up on your customer service skills. Here are just a couple of tips for how easy it is to provide good customer service. It's simple stuff that sometimes we forget to practice. Like smiling when you see someone for the first time that day. Making eye contact. offering to shake hands when greeting someone specifically for a business transaction. Unless, of course, you're not currently protected from COVID, in which case, get on that, will you? Returning calls and messages. If you dedicate time each day to checking text messages and making or returning phone calls, you'll be far better for it. Unless you're dealing with shippers, urgent veterinary issues, or other truly time-sensitive business activities, put your phone in an appropriate place and carve out some time to focus on it at the end of the day or during breaks. And a big customer service issue, very big one, which probably deserves an entire episode all to itself, is treating all of your customers equally, regardless of their financial abilities. Number 3, a good horse professional separates business and personal relationships. Keep your customer relationships focused on business, competitive pursuits, events, activities, and horse care. Clients are not friends, nor should they be. I know this isn't a very popular opinion, but hear me out. This doesn't mean you can't have a wonderful working relationship with them or like them very much. But if you are accepting payment from them in any shape or form, they are your client first. This relationship can never be truly altruistic because there will always be the expectations that transcend the limits of volunteerism that friends share. Right? Those are a lot of big words. Even I had a hard time with them. When we're friends, we do things for each other because we want to. We volunteer our support. We're not bound to it because we've paid for it, right? But when someone pays for a service or pays to have a relationship with you, there are certain expectations that are built into that. You never have the choice. You always have to deliver on that relationship. And that ultimately changes the dynamic of the relationship. Do yourself a very big favor and keep your business relationships professional and your personal ones separate. Number 4, a good horse professional practices integrity. Integrity is about being honest and showing a consistent and uncompromising adherence to strong ethical principles. Being a horse professional in particular means you're held to a higher moral standard than many other business owners. You have the privilege of working with animals who are innocent and willing and giving. To honor the natural lives that they sacrifice by being in our employ, it's our responsibility to be the best moral role models we can be for them. This means not talking unkindly about anyone in your barn, professional, or social circles. It's petty and hurtful. And please, don't be afraid to discourage it when you hear it from others. I'll tell you a quick story. I once heard a local trainer refer to a very generous client of hers as an alcoholic who looked like Ichabod Crane. This comment was made in mixed company at an event that the trainer was hosting, and it was about a man who was kind enough to lend her the use of his very well-mannered horse, because 3 of her horses were lame. At the time, I was too much of a coward to say anything. I regret my silence immensely. Another time, I overheard 2 professionals making fun of a new employee who had trouble finding her way around a very large farm. It was clear that this kind of banter was normal for them. And I was so disappointed because somehow I thought that their competitive accomplishments precluded them from this kind of behavior. Making fun of anyone is unkind and creates a dark energy that lingers and infects others. And while I totally understand that frustrations and challenges on the job often have a lot to do with managing people, a good professional will digest those challenges in private with a trusted partner, friend, or spouse, and hopefully with a dose of empathy. We've all been there. We've all made mistakes. We've all been frustrated. We've all gotten lost, put our foot in our mouths. We would do well to remember that before we make fun of someone else for doing the same. Before I move on to my next point, we're going to hear from Tangent Materials. If you're tired of rotting broken fences, it's time to talk to Tangent. If you want perimeter fencing that's safe and durable with a classic style, it's time to talk to Tangent. If you want to spend more time with your horses and less time worrying about your farm, it's time to talk to Tangent Materials, makers of premium HDPE lumber that looks just like wood, but without the worry. To learn more, go to stallandstable.com/fencing. Number 5. A true horse professional seeks opportunities for professional development. Whether you want to be a better competitor, horseman, or business owner, it's essential that you stay open to new ideas about horse care, training, and business. Just because you've done something for 20 years doesn't mean you've done it right. Professional development is your responsibility, and it means more than taking the occasional lesson with someone who jumps higher than you. Read a book, watch videos, put down your ego and your defenses, and let yourself soften to the ideas and suggestions of other people. Just because you're the resident trainer or barn owner doesn't mean you have to be the expert in all of the things all of the time. Number 6. A good horse professional makes attempts to also be a good householder. Sometimes we have to put what's practical before what's pleasing. That is essentially what being a good householder is about. Take a look around your farm. Make a list of things that need to be done to preserve the safety and well-being of your clients and your horses. You don't need to tackle the list all by yourself or all at the same time, but you do need to acknowledge that there are things to be done, and that's a solid step toward getting them done. Keep your horses in good health. Don't put off veterinary appointments because your lesson horses have a high pain tolerance. If you see something that's even the slightest bit off, take steps to find out what's wrong before what's wrong turns into another horse in the slaughter pipeline. Invest in equine insurance. There's no need for your horses to suffer because you can't afford veterinary care. Property and liability insurance is required for all business owners. Equine insurance, not so much. But that doesn't mean you should forego it. Your horses are your greatest resource. Every little thing you do to keep them healthy and sound is an investment in their wellness and their longevity, and therefore, the wellness and longevity of your business. Number 7, put things in writing. Good horse professionals put it on paper. When something's in writing, it's also not emotional. And not emotional is good when it comes to business. When something's in writing, it becomes binding, right? Contracts are a necessary tool for establishing and maintaining your professional boundaries. This is important because you will encounter clients who will mistakenly believe that their money can buy them a free trip across your boundaries. And if not their money, then their morals, or their circumstances, or whatever it is they believe gives them the right to disregard your rules. Boarding and training agreements, breeding contracts, and liability releases are just a few of the documents you'll want drawn up. If you're not sure what needs to be in writing, call an attorney. The call doesn't cost you anything, even if hiring someone to draft your contracts does. Paper is your friend, your best friend. Make the investment in a solid contract because there's always someone who will test your fences. And while we're talking about putting things in writing, make sure you have clearly posted barn rules in at least 2 places on your property. These are your rules, not just the standard equine liability signs. When you post the rules of your farm, people have the information they need to make good choices and stay aligned with your requirements. If you keep the text neutral and clear, your signs will appear very professional, and people are more inclined to respect them. Okay, before I move on, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to American Harvest Hemp for manufacturing a product that has made a difference in my mare's life. Susie's been on American Harvest hemp pellets for about a month and a half now, and I couldn't be happier with the way she's responded to this very simple addition to her nutritional program. I encourage you to learn more. Just go to stallandstable.com and click on the American Harvest banner. Number 8 on this list, be a good boss. What does it mean to be a good boss? Well, it means many, many things. But in the interest of time, I'll talk about one big one. Be kind and fair to your employees. The pandemic has given rise to the Great Resignation, a mass migration of the American workforce away from jobs that are too stressful or not in alignment with what people want or love to do. There's a labor shortage in the equestrian industry. At the same time, many horse professionals are experiencing a surge in business. Without adequate staff, your ability to provide good care for your horses and good customer service to your clients is going to tank. And now more than ever, horse pros need to do everything they can to fortify their brand in order to remain competitive. If your staff can't or doesn't represent your level of professionalism, it will reflect poorly on your reputation. Is it difficult to find good help? Hell yeah! But it's not impossible. There are strategies you can use to find and hire good people. The question is, can you keep them? Just like your horses, it's your responsibility as an employer to keep your employees happy. Now, before you go hemming and hawing and complaining that people just don't want to work hard these days, stop for a minute and think about this. What motivates a person to work hard? For some, it's money. For others, it's opportunity. And for others, still, it might be appreciation. Once you understand what your employees want and need to be happy, you may be able to find something in your program to give them. The key here is to ask them. You have to have positive and honest conversations with your staff to find out what they want, what they're good at, and how you can ensure their happiness as a part of your team. Because if they're not happy, they'll never take their job as seriously as you do. They will never be as invested in a job well done as you are. But happy staffers, they become super invested in your business. They become invested in being a team member, but you won't know what motivates them unless you ask. So while you're planning your schedule each season, be sure to include one-on-one employee reviews. Meet with each person individually and go over what they would like to see improve, as well as what you would like to see improve. I would suggest that in these meetings, you always begin by telling your employees what they do well and what you're happy with. Opening a conversation on a positive note sets a much more agreeable tone for topics that may be uncomfortable. Just try to remember to be clear, diplomatic, and open. Encourage your staff to be open with you, too. The more they're able to trust you with their honest thoughts, the less likely they are to engage in petty venting behind your back. But they must be able to trust you with their truth. If you're harsh, critical, or closed-minded, there's always going to be a barrier between your goals and the team that you need to help you achieve them. Number 9. A good horse professional takes no prisoners. It's a mistake to think that one cannot be both kind and firm, because you can. As a horseman, you know your values. Make them crystal clear to everyone who works with you, for you, and to your clients. Hopefully, those values will include nonviolence when handling horses, discretion with other people's personal business, financial integrity, reliability, and safe horsemanship. If a staff member or a client crosses one of your boundaries, give them a mulligan. Consider it an opportunity to teach them a better way, while also warning them that crossing your boundary a second time will result in a very specific consequence: getting fired, getting fined, or being asked to leave. If you make a commitment to monthly or seasonal barn meetings, one for clients and one for staff, you're less likely to run into conflict, because one of the most powerful preventatives to conflict is clear communication. And number 10, a good horse professional takes good care of themselves, physically and psychologically. Take time to attend to your own needs. I see a lot of trainers who run their barns and their businesses like little kingdoms. They get away with a lot of bad behavior because they run the show. If you call them out on their bad behavior, they kick you out. And it's their right to do so. But the downside of that autonomy is that the trainer with a revolving door of clients and employees has a much bigger problem than any business strategy can solve. If you find yourself dealing with the same problems over and over again, at some point you have to ask yourself, what might I be doing to attract this? At some point you have to say, out loud probably, could it be me? That's when you need to seek the help of an outside professional. And I mean a professional. Not some life coach whose training included a $399 kit they downloaded from another life coach. I mean a psychologist, psychiatrist, licensed therapist, or your doctor. You need to figure your stuff out. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in a revolving door of lame horses, lousy employees, unhappy sponsors, and worse, poor health. If you find yourself constantly complaining about others, blaming horses, feeling angry, or making fun of people, you're probably suffering from an old, or maybe not so old, wound that needs to be healed. Try to find the courage to consider that about yourself, and then make time to attend to your own healing. Will your ego get a little bruised in the process? Yes, but that's a good thing. Your ego only protects you from painful truths. But there's a simple way to alleviate that pain, and that's to look the truth straight in the face. Find a quiet place, far away from the chaos of your life, and start to ask yourself the question, why am I so angry? Or, what can I do differently to attract better outcomes? The answers to these questions will begin a process that will change your life. And the benefits you will reap on the other side of that process will be far greater than you can imagine. So to wrap up this list of suggestions, I'll summarize. Professionalism is about integrity, self-care, courtesy toward others, awareness, and a personal commitment to doing the very best you can. And if you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are folks out here, like me, who would love to help you overcome your challenges so you can be part of an industry that is professional, honest, and fair to horses and people. Many thanks to our sponsors, Lucas Equine Equipment, Tangent Materials, and American Harvest. You can find out more about each of them at stallandstable.com. And that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll share it with your friends and colleagues.